Hello, everybody, and welcome to my Ascension Messages. I am a guide and an activator, and I am here to help you through these channeled messages that are coming through from my team. So I'm a seer. I've seen many, many, many different beings throughout my life, and that's because my mum had the same gift as well, where I would wake up and actually see things that weren't there. And then I started to take the reins to that and started to get messages of and signs of things to come and premonition dreams. And so now I'm here to help and guide others, and I also activate as well. They do tell me that sometimes when I use my hands, it's actually messages coming through to you or activations happening for you. There's a certain resonance that I hold because I come straight from Pleiades, and it helps you align with your higher self. And that will take you through to these higher dimensions where I've actually literally woken up in these higher dimensions and had the stillest mind. My mind was completely still. And then all of these gifts were abundant: telepathy, telekinesis, being able to manifest in real time, teleportation. And that rose everyone above the limited program that's pulled over humanity's consciousness. And also, it's not just humans that can do this. Yes, we have a specific program that we've been following, humans have been following. And when we watch animals and plants and so forth, their program of this, our limited consciousness, fits into our story. But there are many other stories throughout the nature, plant life, animals, and everything else, where they can actually dip and dive into different realities. You might even have seen birds where they swirl up like this. I've literally seen one swirl up and then disappear. There's way more to our reality than meets the so-called physical eye. When we do open up that third eye, we become way more entangled with much more that we can communicate with. One of the biggest lessons that they want to bring forth at the moment is to bring those that are awakening and those that have awoken into the I am, to ask thyself, who am I? And really start to go into that in a way of seeing self from an observer point of view. You could literally do this meditation where you go through and see yourself being born, and allow the imagination to flow as it happens. And then the different levels of awareness that you might have had throughout that. So when a baby is born into this world, they are just the pure essence of that soul coming into their existence, into the new program. The new program, which is held within the logical mind, has been at a mirror reflection of the soul's necessary lesson that it needs to go on as it proceeds through this life. So, in other words, say the soul wanted to learn how to become more compassionate about self. They might be born into a family where there's no compassion from others. And so they have to do the inner work and go within themselves to find that compassion for self. There might be a soul that needed the lesson of how to be able to control their emotions. And so they are born into a body that has disabilities within the mind, or the chemical reactions of the mind being manic depressant or so forth. And then that soul, as it progresses through life, has to learn to readjust to what it actually does when it allows the emotions to run wild. And there is always a way to be able to contain or bring oneself back into alignment with source energy, and allow one to be empowered and progress through their life. So many of the mirror reflections of our families, the body that we're actually born into, is something of a lesson that the soul wanted to journey through and evolve into an understanding of what that actually means to be in this physical world, with that chemical imbalance, that disability, or that reflection of family members and so forth. Some of us have come straight from higher dimensions, and so we were here to learn how to ground our power into this physical world. And so we might have been all airy-fairy and not actually be able to ground our reality in a physical way, through abundance and so forth. So our lesson is how do I empower myself and allow and bring myself in as a grounded person. So a lot of the light workers are like that. And a lot of them are finding their own way through this reality, as in they are being asked to be present 100% in the physical reality a lot more, because that's when they're more present, they're more in the moment, they contain more love within themselves, and their cells open up to that love, and they can actually physically feel comfortable in their bodies. So a lot of the light workers or people who are star beings that have come straight from other places, their lesson is to physically feel comfortable in their body, physically feel comfortable in this environment. And then they can bring through their wisdom of their soul more through that more of an acceptance of being here, and it opens up cells to being able to allow the bleed through of their home world, energetic home world, to come through so that they can share that out through the love of self to other physical humans in this world. And so they ground that through many businesses and so forth, which is why I've started AMAKEL, a new reality school and so forth. But my team is really wanting us to recognize that this is the time for those light workers or star beings, those that are holding frequency from other planets, other dimensions, other places, to really start to embrace being in this body, being in this world, this physical world. Start to embrace it more, start to love it more, start to see more value of the beautiful world that we're actually in a physical sense, because that's the only way they're going to be able to ground more of their home world into this world, and then share with others whole other ways of living, whole completely other ways of living. And that's what this transition is all about. It's not about us leaving this planet and going back home. We came here for purpose. We came here to open up our cells and our DNA to express more of that love of our planet, our home existence, our vibration, and all the wisdom that comes with our soul being on that planet. We want to ground it more into this physical world. So that's what a lot of us are now moving into. So the I am, if we go back to that, we go back to the point where we are a little baby and we've just been born, right? And seeing it from an observer point of view of whoever you feel, how do you feel you are as you tune in to you as a baby? And if you start crying or something, there's an emotional outlet, allow it to flow, but also recognize it for the devalue that it brought to you in that moment. In other words, maybe all of a sudden you have a pining to go back to your world, your home world. Well, that's because you haven't completely allowed yourself to be present in in the body of the baby. And so if we go, well, I'm going to go back to that point and embrace the fact or accept the fact that I wasn't fully in my body. And then as you grow up, when have I been fully present in this world? When you are fully present in this world, others will see that and magnetize towards it because of the power that you're bringing through from your other dimension, which is the whole purpose and the reason why you came here. That's what the light work is. They want me to bring up the fact that there's two merging worlds here. There is the physical DNA world, and then there is that soul essence world that is coming through into the physical world. So the physical DNA world is your ancestors, your grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, and so forth, and their DNA and all of the lives that they've been on coming through into your DNA. And so that's one issue there when they've been limited in their concept of disempowerment through the feminine essence of intuitiveness, imagination, being able to shift the story and shift reality, and persecuted for being that, being able to communicate with animals and plant life and so forth, feeling like they don't belong in this masculine world, so to speak. That's one essence that we come into. It is a mirror reflection, though, of the soul wanting to learn the lesson through that. So it is all encompassing with the soul, but then you have the soul's journey that it's been on. So as a light worker, from a soul's perspective, you might have had an absolutely beautiful, wonderful life where you felt really serene, and you want to bring through that serenity into this existence now as you're moving along in your reality. So as you do that, but then you come into a physical form, and that is holding a whole heap of imbalance structures where the life that your grandparents and parents and so forth went on held certain limitations of not being able to be empowered through that feminine essence. And so because of humanity going on a masculine journey, being overtaking everything, and it become extremely imbalanced and turned us and made us loop into circles of repetitive cycles, which is empowered by just a few that were already in lack of themselves and wanting to only fixate on controlling their outside world. And so you were their outside world, and so they enforce more limited programs into your mind of you cannot do this and you cannot do that, otherwise you will be persecuted. But they can't persecute everyone, and they can't limit everything. That's impossible, because because in reality possibilities are endless. And it's only through that logical mind or that masculine mind holding on to a fixed position of, I need to look good to the outside world, even if I feel bad, that has kept us in this problem. As the I am, as you see yourself as the I am, as a baby being born, and you look at yourself being born and feeling into either that DNA that's held on to limited concept of self, not empowered, or the soul's lineage of where it's come from, even if it wasn't from another planet or higher dimension, you as a humanoid, going life after life after life, being persecuted for what you were, you will need to feel into before that, until you come to an empowered self. So the I am goes way beyond the program, and it will always end up matching the vibration of source energy and empowerment through lives before the imbalanced situation of masculine overruling everything. So you can go into a meditation and go, okay, how did I feel as a baby being born? Now, as that baby being born, do I have a lot of uh, issues within myself of how I'm perceiving or feeling into my world? And do I feel vulnerable? And feel into that. So there's something to do with the I am that they want to bring up so that you can clear away a lot more at that point of existence of being born into this world. Because there is an innocence there of a baby, and the innocence will clearly show up, is what they're trying to say, clearly show up the points that were imbalanced or out of balance. So this can be quite confusing, I know, because there's all these different perspectives. There could be that you were a light worker born from a higher dimension, or there could be that you were a human born life after life after life in a repetitive cycle and trapped in that masculine energy, but playing out the masculine world, which was what humanity wanted to experience. How far can they go from a masculine sense, looking only outside themselves and trying to control everything from that perspective, but not really feeling into their feelings? This is the reason why when we talk about feelings, it's kind of like, why would you want to talk about feelings? Oh, that's just wishy-washy, or that's just you're I don't know, you're not that cool if you talk about your feelings or accepted. But it's so important because when you get your feelings based right of who you are and the I am of that, and then you move out into your world and move through your feelings of, well, that feels wrong, so I'm not doing that. Yeah, but the rest of the world tells you you should. Yeah, but I'm not doing it. And so I'm going to try something else. And then you try that. And yeah, but the rest of the world's saying no. So there's this whole concept of the I am and how we're actually fitting into the world, what we're accepting into our lives through our feelings, and what we're accepting into our life through the I need to try to fit in so that I look good to the rest of the world, even though I feel bad. There's something about that as well. I'm just trying to make sure that you guys realize the power of looking at self through the eyes of I am. So if we go back to as a baby being born, and say, for instance, you feel into that feeling of feeling vulnerable and you're not really present in your body, or you feel like your parents said something that wasn't nice and you really didn't like that, even though you were a baby, you would feel that. Remembering that as a baby, you are more in your feels because you don't have that logical program that has taught you how to speak. So you're actually very telepathic, a lot more telepathic. And even though someone might have even just thought something, if you are telepathic, you would pick up on that vibration. That's why when children are born, they seek the advice through feeling of their parents. So if their parents are constantly already have within themselves, oh, this child is just going to be a nuisance. I don't really like. It's literally always going to fall over. They're never going to be able to do be able to move into this world. If they're thinking that, the child will pick up on it and start becoming that. So, and then it's a reflection of that adult that's thinking that, and then they show up as that. So the child will always show up as the adult feels about that child or feels about themselves. Usually they feel that about themselves and they're projecting it onto the child. I'm not good enough. I can't stand up on my own 2 feet. I can't fit into this world. Okay, this child is now that reflection because that's how I feel about myself. And so we don't want the child to become better than me because I have control over this limited, vulnerable world that I've moved into. So I'm going to project it onto the child, and then the child feels into that and becomes that because the child is learning through the vibrations of you, through the feelings of you. So this is where we become unstuck. So if we go back to ourselves as that baby or that child, and we take back our power from our parents or teachers or peers or siblings, and we say to ourselves, I am beyond what they were projecting onto me, and I am more than that. And I am amazing that I could even feel into that. So I am telepathic in that respect already. And so when I go back into my feelings and I take responsibility for my feelings now as I move or progress up and through my life, then I am going to be able to change my outlook of my life, not taking on board all of the blockages that I had from those that were projecting onto me. And they were only doing that in a reflection to remember, because the soul wanted to learn how to get out of this. The soul's always advancing itself through the adventure of life, how to get out of the misery or the victimization, the disempowerment. And because the soul is empowered, it is love, it just is already that. And so it's asking our programmable mind, our logical mind, to come up and to play with the energy alignment of the soul. So the soul is that love going on a journey. It's asking the logical mind to come up and to play with the energy alignment. Come on, let's love this adventure. Let's be fully present in this body. Let's see what we can do with our beautiful self in this world. What can we express creatively from these hands, and this mind, and everything from love, not from I have to put a limit on everything of who I am because I want to fit into the rest of the world, because I don't feel empowered. And I'm scared that they're going to see me in the wrong way. And so you totally go the wrong way. You get your 9-to-5 job, you fit into the rest of the world, and you feel crap. Yeah, so there's something about that happening, and teaching us the value of the feelings matching, your feelings matching your soul. Then the imbalance, the wobbliness, or the logical mind fighting the intuitive and imaginative mind, or the soul fighting the physical, is now coming into balance of come play with me. Let's see what adventures we could create together. I have a soul that's come from a higher dimension that understands way more outside the physical parameters. Let's see what we can do with those gifts and so forth. Or I have a soul that's been life after life persecuted as a witch, but when I was a witch, I learned the value of being able to connect with plant lives, with herbology, with animals, with Mother Earth herself, and I made magic happen, physical magic happen, manifestations and so forth. I knew how to wield the physical world through that capability of being in my feminine feeling body, asking the logical mind to let go enough of the limited program, which is only created many rules and laws, really, rules to stop any sort of bleeding into a more conducive world that's expanded outside of the limited concept of what the logical mind could handle by trying to fit into the rest of the world. So through this message that's coming out now, and being able to activate you, that they are asking you to give yourself freedom to look back at your life and feel into your feelings throughout your, baby, childhood, teenage years, and ask what programs were I holding on to that kept me in a limited concept that I was trying to fit in to the rest of the world, but I really felt bad. I didn't feel good about it at all. And then ask the logical mind, how could I ground some of this good feeling into a business that creates wealth and abundance, but still is in align with my soul, align with my feelings. And that will come straight from your heart. You will feel so excited about it. And when it's in line, then the universe, the universe that's outside of us, the physical world, will start to vibrate to you. You become the central point of your creation. And so the universe wants to match that. And so those that are awakening, you start to magnetize them towards you, and it becomes more vibrational meet with them. And then you'll start to see a lot of your physical world actually reflecting how powerful and beautiful your soul actually is. Yeah, so it makes it a whole different reality then. And this is what it's all about, moving into these higher frequencies, higher dimensions. Take back the I am present in this body as a feeling-based soul, exploring through this body of how can I ground this passion of mine into a physical sense so it aligns with my soul. That will awaken a lot more of those that held the codes of the witches and the wizards. It will awaken you. It will awaken the star beings that have come from different frequencies, and we will start to see people doing these extraordinary things. We will start to see people with extraordinary businesses that are way outside the curb. And then those that are coming up the ranks of awakening, and they will be squeezed into a position where they no longer feel comfortable at all being there, that they will look for something new. And first of all, that will bring them to themselves of how they feel. So when they start to feel into how they feel and they don't like it, then they'll be asking themselves, how do I express myself to feel better? And then what am I aligning with in my outside world that matches that? So then we become groups or pods. They like to call it pods from Pleiadians, pods of people together. I always see those, peas in a pod kind of thing. It's frequency alignments. So yeah, there's a whole big transition that will start to happen as we start to see new businesses develop that are outside the so-called box and teaching humanity gifts of things that have been repressed and hidden. So I think I'll leave it there, guys. What a powerful message that's been brought up right there. We'll see where else this can go in the next messages. Don't forget, I always go live on Tuesday mornings and Thursday mornings with tarot as well, because I like to do the tarot. It's fun and I always follow my passions, and that's fun for me. But there's a lot of powerful messages that come through that as well. So love and light to you guys. Until next time, bye.